Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Platitude Era podcast. In this episode of the podcast, we will be reviewing the movie Rhythm Section. The movie Rhythm Section stars Blake Lively, Deadpool's wife. Not Deadpool's wife from the movie, but Deadpool's wife in real life, Blake Lively. And this movie is its own version or a remake of what we call La Femme Nikita, or the Bridget Fonda movie Point of No Return. Woman with problems, criminal activities or tendencies, drug addict sometimes, that becomes an assassin.
Yeah, Fathom Events is really slipping because I know, like, every time we show up early to the movie theater, they show, come see the opera that's sweeping the Broadway or whatever, and it's some opera that I don't care about or whatever, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see the Rhythm Section, and there was no opera in this, so I don't know what Fathom Events is thinking. I guess they're trying to generate buzz or something by having some big action star or whatever action movie. It's like, I don't get it. I didn't see any singing. I didn't see any orchestra. I didn't see none of that. So I don't know why this movie's even called the Rhythm Section.
There was a line in it, and I don't know how it fit. I guess it's to become an assassin, you're a rhythm section.
This movie had lines?
Yeah, she was training to be an assassin, and her mentor was explaining to her how your body is like an orchestra. Yeah, your heart is the bass, and your lungs are the rhythm section in the choir, and your brain is the conductor.
I didn't recall any of that. That's how forgettable and boring this film was, and the dialogue. And it's weird. So the movie's called The Rhythm Section, and other than that thing you just explained to me, I wouldn't have noticed anything in relation to that. This movie doesn't really lean into the theme of, orchestra or music or whatever, except when they loudly put weird, out of place, like, pop music for no good reason. Like, because this movie's really quiet and drab and droll and just, like, a lot of silence or just kind of contemplative, like whispery kind of muffled talk, and then they'll put like Sweet Caroline or like just some weird like super blaringly loud. I mean, maybe it could have been the speakers at our movie theater, but just like it's such a bizarre soundtrack choice when most of the movie's pretty quiet, and then you'll just blare something super loud and seemingly out of place just to kind of like wake the audience back. I'm like, oh, there's a movie going on, I forgot.
A great example, because I was falling asleep in this movie. This movie suffers from when the studios and the marketing department try to push this as an action movie, but it's really a drama, a spy drama.
Yeah, it's, I guess, in the vein of like Atomic Blonde or I guess maybe Red Sparrow, where it's just, this person who's essentially being brought up to be an assassin and then kind of going, they wear a wig, so they're really good at their craft, even though their face looks identical or whatever. And then, I don't know, it doesn't do well as an action movie, it doesn't do well as a spy thriller, it doesn't do well as a drama, it doesn't do well. There's like weird spurts of comedy for levity's sake. It just feels like it failed. It swings and a miss on all fronts, on every pitch.
And while it was missing, I was falling asleep, and I woke up to this one part in the movie where they're driving and they play the soundtrack from the Quentin Tarantino movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Din, din, din,
Yeah,
din,
like Mamas
din,
and
din.
Papas, that one song. Straight Shooter. Once again, a horrible misplacing of a song for no good reason. And then and then they'll like cut to some dialogue, and then they'll put the volume low, and then the scene ends or whatever. Or they'll put a capper to the end of the scene, like, I just did this, and then blast the song back again. And it's just like, ugh, stop it. The song was like, maybe that's just me, but just if a very popular movie of note comes out and makes a specific soundtrack choice, and then your movie's coming out in a relative release date to this other movie, don't you have to go back and say, yeah, this guy's just put this song, maybe we should change it for something else? My suggestion, my thought.
And this movie was directed by a first-time director. She has more...
And hopefully last time.
She has a lot of experience directing on TV, where you have a whole season to tell a story. And in this movie, she made a couple of mistakes. I noticed that she would hold the camera too long for something. There was this one scene, and I'll give you an example, where this journalist is putting together pieces of this mystery that happened, and our main character, Blake Lively, is looking at his... what is it called? Murder wall? Homicide wall?
He's got his wall? Pepe, for meme lovers, his Pepe Silvia wall, where he just has like a bunch of like pictures up on the wall and, strings of yarn going all over the place, connecting to everything.
Yeah, and then, I got it right away what was going on, and the director felt, oh, maybe the audience doesn't know what's going on, so I'm gonna linger longer on this, and then focus on each picture that's on the wall. And there were maybe like 4 or 5 examples of this where the director would focus too much on something that we already got, and it was time to move on.
This person was sitting in coach. Coach of what? Maybe the airplane crash we alluded to earlier. Also, the plot is stupid. Like, really, the government or whatever is covering up a plane crash? That sounds foolish. That sounds stupid to me. Oh, it was just a plane malfunction. It wasn't a terrorist attack. Why would you cover up a terror? That's dumb. It's a dumb movie.
Well, it was to recruit the woman. That's why they covered it up, so she can discover the truth.
No, that doesn't make any sense. That sounds like some dumb nonsense.
And then lastly, another thing that the director messed up was she had this big star in the movie, and she was trying to do this big reveal. So you have Blake Lively, who's passed out on the floor, and you see these boots and this character talking to her, and it's supposed to be this big reveal like, oh my god, we got this big star. But the problem is the big star has this recognizable voice, so once he starts speaking, you know who it is, and the director's like, oh wow, you can't wait for the big reveal, but I'm gonna keep showing this actor's boots.
Well, I mean, his name pops up in the opening credits, so it's hard to hide him. But also, I found it strange that I've been this movie has the same trailer open before almost every shitty movie I've seen in the past 6 months or whatever. And it seemed super weird that one of the brighter spots of this movie was completely hidden from the marketing until a week or two out. It seemed very bizarre to not show that Jude Law was in this movie and that it was almost like a solo performance by Blake Lively. It seemed weird. I don't know. Maybe you knew that, like, if you put the marketing knew if we put Jude Law in the trailers, it'd be like, oh, people think this is an action movie. Then people will see this, but they'll review it poorly. If we just advertise it as a female kick butt movie with only Blake Lively, then fewer people will watch this and review it even just as poorly. I don't know. Seems like a weird marketing decision to, hey, if you want to get people to see the show, maybe put Jude Law in it, or maybe people, because he's a similarly-ish character, I guess you could say, from Captain Marvel, where he was kind of like training her, or Captain Marvel, so he was training Blake Lively in this. But to not show that at all and just to play the same boring trailer for 8 months while I'm just waiting to hopefully never see this movie. Spoiler, I wound up seeing this movie. But just, I don't know. It was interesting. Just to not show characters. I guess, the cast is very small in this movie, and this movie tries to go for a twist at the end of, like, who's the real bad guy. So I guess the fewer characters you show, the harder it is for people to guess this stupid, not easy to understand, but easy to figure out. Not understand, but figure out, if you can understand my meaning, where it's like, oh, someone's a traitor. Oh, there's only 3 characters in this movie. It's a coin flip if you got a weird fucking coin.
or a triangle.
I guess it's not a coin flip because Blake Lively would never be the bad guy, but sure, a coin flip then.
But we don't know about Jude Law.
Oh, we don't know. So it's got to be one of these two. So my coin metaphor stands. But let's still pretend that it lands on the edge for funsies.
So to figure out if we should find out who it is, what's your recommendation? Because on Rotten Tomatoes, well, what's your recommendation first?
Personally, for me, I recommend over watching this movie, because I think you'll have at least a little more fun doing that than watching this movie. Even if it ends up failing spectacularly, I think you'll still wind up winning doing that than watching this movie. Also, my lawyers are telling me not to actually advocate. They're also advocating against seeing this movie.
Our friends at Rotten Tomato, critics gave it a 28%. Not good. Audience gave it a 43%. Better than the critics, a little more generous than critics. My recommendation is skip this movie. Sure, we complained a lot about it, but the one good thing it does have is
Sterling K. Brown.
Hans Zimmerman was a music producer, and they didn't let him do any of the music, but at the end, I don't know if he did or if
they used
he
his
had
microphones.
input.
I don't know, or really care. I think there's some, I guess there was some, percussive-y, Hans Zimmer-esque music, which is fine, sounds nice enough compared to, like, blaring some garbage at 11 that seems weird and out of place. It's called the rhythm section. It's got to be about music. Put some shitty pop music or whatever. I don't know, it's weird. But sure, score is fine.
So the movie was pretty much downhill, and then it finished strong, but it was...
It didn't finish strong. It never started strong.
It never started
It
strong.
doesn't know the word strong.
But it was so low that no matter what it did at the end, it
Those end
couldn't go
credits
any
were
lower.
fantastic because I finally knew I could leave.
And the best part was we had a...
No, you're gonna redo your outro and not make any reference to the thing you're about to say because I don't care. I don't care.
Well, everyone, thank you for watching our podcast. Don't forget to sub to our channel and give this video a like so you can get more great content like this. Bye, everyone.